Hey guys, Scott here again with a new beer video. Today's going to be a little bit of a hybrid between discussing Lidl beer and Costco beer and just some things about subcontracted brewing in general. Some tidbits that I know, and some of you may already know this or research it yourself. Then we're going to do a beer dissection of a beer from Lidl called Stargazer Session IPA. Now, I've never had this one before. I've had Lidl beers before. A lot of times I found that they were numbered like number 1, number 2, number 3, and it's been hit and miss. A double IPA I had there was very good. Then I've had others that have been kind of hit and miss. They also, because they're a German outfit, they bring in a Kronbacher, which I've never heard of before, except through Lidl. They make a Hefeweizen and a Pilsner. And I've been kind of, iffy on that. Again, for the price point, it's worth a gamble and see if you like it. But in general, when I was doing a little research on Lidl beer, I was perusing, some blogs and things. It's actually brewed by Central Virginia Brewing Company, which I had to dive a little bit deeper into it. And it turns out that there's a company they're out near Cosel, I think was the town, or Vint Hill, Virginia. There's a brewery called Star Hill Brewing Company. And that's exactly, on the blade bottle, it says Central Virginia Brewing Company. But it seems to be that there's another packer, Star Hill, that's somewhere in there, Vint Hill, or I think the town, Cosset in Virginia actually brews it. So that's not unusual, because for many years, Costco, their Kirkland brand beer, which I remember looking back in the day when it first came out, I think I was probably midway through doing my home brewing, that it was through Utica Brewing Company. And it was like Saranac. It turned out it was Saranac beers, and Saranac beer was brewed by the Utica Brewing Company. And the beers are actually very good. And I haven't had the Costco Kirkland beer in a while, so I don't know if it's still being brewed by Utica, which again is a subsidiary, I guess, of Saranac. So again, doing this subcontract brewing is not unusual. And just because it's Lidl or Costco doesn't mean the beer is bad. If you do have again, for the price point, there's certain things you can probably tolerate. I'm not going to say that it's going to, put a lot of the nano, micro, and craft brewery industry out of business, but some of them have been actually pretty good. So, the other thing about, back to kind of Star Hill Brewery, they were bought out. When I dug even deeper, Conagra Foods, I think, bought them out. So that's probably why, they're brewing for Lidl now and able to produce it at a larger, volume, and then be able to produce all these for Lidl. The other thing with Costco was what I had found. There's a little research. If I can just take a look at some of my notes, Utica Brewing Company, I guess the Gordon Bresch is brewed on the West Coast in San Jose, California. So Gordon Bresch Brewing Company. On the East Coast, it's Matt Brewing Company, which was, again, I found out was like a subsidiary of Saranac Brewing Company or Utica Brewing Company group. So again, this is not uncommon. So if you grab beer from some of these stores, I wouldn't be surprised if Trader Joe's does the same thing. I've never gotten beer from Trader Joe's. And, you see it also in wine. I know a lot of the vineyards out on the West Coast, I've seen stories, they have their top shelf stuff, and then they maybe bottle other ones for other wineries and then sell it at, maybe discount stores or whatever. So this is not an unusual thing. So that's why I never want to just look, Lidl beer, it's got to be garbage. Not necessarily. Like I said, I've had some that have been, decent. Some that was really good. They're double IPA. And this one I haven't had before. So again, just a little bit about Lidl. Star Hill Brewing Company is kind of the source, even though it says Central Virginia Brewing Company on there. And again, the same thing goes on with Costco. So this one here, I also have in the refrigerator. I don't know if I'm going to do a review on the Blue Ridge Lager. This one is advertised as a session. Here we go now. Stargazer Session Ale. I believe it was at about 4.7% alcohol, which is sessionable. It is kind of funny because, your Budweisers and your Bud Lights are sitting around like 4.2, 4.3. And people consume those like it's water. And something like this that's just over that is now a sessionable beer. So again, Trailgazer Session Ale. I got my usual oversized kind of tulip glass here. I don't really have too many other specs other than it's 4.7% session. I don't have IBU numbers. I don't have anything else. So I'm going in this blind just like you guys. So let's open this boy up. Okay. All right. So like usual, probably pour it off camera here a little bit just so I don't risk a spill. Okay. About halfway through here. Oh, looks pretty nice. Nice gold color, pretty clear. Nice frothy head, actually a nicer head than some beers that I've reviewed recently that I would say are more, higher, what you perceive as higher quality. Slight chill haze. Okay, so let's take a whiff of this. Oh. Nice, you kind of get a little, pineapple in there. Slight grapefruit, definitely some citrus. Not overpowering like with the grapefruit, like on most of the beers I've been, reviewing recently. Yeah, so definitely maybe a little mandarin, a little orange. As far as the hop character is concerned. So pineapple, a little orange, maybe a slight bit of grapefruit. So it's probably all coming from the hops. Because of the color of it, I'm assuming we're going to get some bready malt quality that's probably made with mostly Pilsner, maybe Pilsner malt or two-row malt, and probably not much specialty grains as far as the, if any, because of the color of it. So let's take a taste. Yeah. Everything I just described on the aroma kind of gets very subdued here in the flavor. Nicely refreshing and carbonated, medium high carbonation. Trying to get the bitterness. Probably a moderate to pronounced bitterness. So they're probably making it like an American IPA American Pale Ale style. If I was to take a guess, but you lose that fruit, like you're kind of losing in the flavor here. I kind of get that little bit of blast from the carbonation, bitterness last, but I'm not getting that same, citrus, pineapple, mandarin I just had in the aroma. So that's kind of not great. But again, we're looking at roughly $6 for a 6-pack. I mean, it's refreshing enough. Thankfully, I'm not getting any, off flavors like, it was oxidized. I think it's actually pretty fresh. Now, I don't know if on the single bottle, if they have the actual bottling date on there. I probably have to check there's something all messed up there, but I'm not getting like any oxidized flavors, any skunky flavors. But, if they are doing an IPA, like a pale ale, like a Sierra Nevada pale ale or any of our other IPAs out there, and they're making a sessionable, that fruitiness that I just got in that aroma, you're just not getting, which, maybe it is a little bit older. Maybe, we do lose hop flavor and aroma usually, and some bitterness there, over time. It's kind of medium bodied. Now look, if I grab this, let's put it in perspective, okay? It's from Lidl. It's from a brewery that we barely know in Central Virginia. They do make beers. If you do some research on Central Virginia Brewing Company, they do make some beers. They got like a menu board like most of your breweries. So they are producing probably, quality beers. This is probably like kind of a mid-range kind of beer. But, if you're at someone's house and, it's in a cooler and you're like, what is this? And you happen to not know what it is and you pour it in a glass and no one even told you and you were drinking it, you'd probably be like, yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty nice. We get biased sometimes in our reviews when you see like a beer coming from Lidl or Trader Joe's. That's why like sometimes doing completely blind reviews is great because you don't know where it's coming from. If I handed this to someone in my house and I had my home brew, something from my local breweries I mentioned, Mauritius Field, Long Island Farm, West Hampton, and I said, what's the best tasting beer? A lot of them are going to have a bias of going towards the microbreweries, which probably they are. But then if I handed them this with, say, like another unknown beer in a bottle, they may not even know, the difference in the two. That they'd be like, actually, this is pretty good. I still think the farm breweries and the craft breweries are going to overperform versus this beer. But if I had this against, like I said, I just grab arbitrary beer off of the shelf in a bottle. So I think sometimes our reviews get biased on what you're expecting, kind of like people do with a lot of different things, like restaurants that look at wines, at the labels on the wines, and say, "Oh, this is or the price of the wine, right?" They've done things on that. The bottle wine was $200. It's got to be better than this $20 bottle, and they do tastings, and they find out people like the cheap wine better, or paintings that they show a bunch of art critics and say, oh, the painting must have been done by so-and-so and it's worth $10,000. And then they say, oh no, it was done by this 5-year-old with their hand. With this beer, listen, on the scheme of beers, I wouldn't rank it extremely high. If you bought a $6 or $7 six-pack of this, it's drinkable. You may not go back for a second pack, but I think for an economy type of beer, it's manageable, okay? But, so kind of that medium body. Carbonation is pretty good, pretty strong. Like I said, the head was pretty good on there. It's even lacing in my glass, which is nice. Okay, I haven't talked about beer clean glass as much, and with certain protein structures in the beer, you get that lacing, so listen, I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this, considering, my wife picked it up at Lidl yesterday, and I'm thinking, it's been kind of hit and miss. The double IPA, I remember, was good from them. But this is actually quite refreshing. I would drink this, with pizza. If if it was still at the store, I would pick it up. But I don't think it's going to be putting out, Sierra Nevada out of business anytime soon, or insert your favorite IPA company or any of these microbreweries out. So again, you do get some fruitiness on the nose. Decent fruitiness on the palate, but not as much on the nose. Kind of disappoints me a little bit on there. But other than that, like I said, Lidl beer, a little bit about subcontract brewing. One of these Lidl beers here, which is Lidl / Star Hill Brewery, somewhere near Central Virginia Brewing Company. If anyone ever happens to be watching this and they know that brewery, Star Hill, please feel free to comment below. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. Have a great day till the next video, and have a great one. Take care.